at the time of the 1991 firestorm. How was it like hearing that your house got ravaged and that the rest of Berkeley was affected by this huge disaster?
It was profoundly disturbing. In other words, I had a phone call from my daughter who said that she didn't know whether the house was standing and she didn't know where Dad was. And she was crying, and I suddenly realized I had to be very calm. So I urged her to just find her dad and have him call me as soon as possible. And I would wait by the phone. The whole family met me at the airport, and we came here and we walked through the house. And it was nighttime, and it was, the odd thing was it was totally dripping with water here and there. So it was very peculiar. The house was very hard to be in because it had a kind of dampness, this mold, that was almost harmful. You could hardly breathe, really. It was not just like being damp from rain. It was poisonous feeling. Everyone on my street was okay. So it was not like everyone traumatized at once. It was very lucky. We had a lot of support. All my neighbors had come and taken the stuff out of bureau drawers and everything. Amazing amount of stuff was already done. We got everything organized to take it away, you know, piles of photos and all kinds of other stuff. And then it rained. And since it rained in completely through the house. So everything got wet. That was almost worse. Disaster it's a death, you know. You're facing something absolutely primeval, and there is nothing you can do about it. It was not normal for 3 years, really. 2.5 years is what it technically took to move back in the house. And I remember when we had moved back in, it was, you know, it was very exciting. And then we got back in the house, and you know, moving, you have thousands of boxes, everything's in a box. And then you're meant to be happy because you moved back, right? So all of a sudden, you're flat because you're meant to be happy. And you had all that energy when things were really tough. And you had to keep your energy moving. And then you get there, and then boom. This all happened to me at a point in midlife, which was a time when you might want to make a big change in your life anyway. So in some ways, it allowed us to get rid of a lot of stuff, to put it that way. We didn't necessarily choose what we got rid of, but, you know, we pared down, and then we brought back into the house the things we really loved.
So let's talk about your documentary.
Yes.
You recently finished one, and it talks about a fire and how your family was affected by it. What was your influence? How did you decide to make a documentary about this?
I want them to know that this happened. I think that's the basic thing. And I think also it's really important that they know that the fire, the facts of the fire. Being a photographer, I had a lot of visual material already from the restoration, which I photographed kind of compulsively. But I had access to film footage by a firefighter who was a filmmaker and who has since died. But he had given us a VHS of what he called the Battle of El Camino, which is a street nearby here. So actually his footage was of the fire on the hill, but also it was close by. And of course when I looked at it, he gave it to us, but when I see it, I know where it is, and I know it's near my house. So it was very important to me to use this footage. Then I had pictures of the house as a ruin, some taken by me, some by others. And I have photographer friends who went up on the hill and took many impressive pictures. So all in all, I had this archive of visual material, and I felt that if I just put it in the Bancroft Library and left it, maybe nobody would know what to do or what it was about. So I felt really compelled to do this story.